Hello and welcome. Thank you for tuning in to this video. This is the third video in Publishing Perspectives series about this year's special edition of the Frankfurt Book Fair, which, as you all know, will take place online because of the coronavirus pandemic. My name is Hannah Johnson. I'm the publisher of Publishing Perspectives. We're a book trade magazine. And I'm here with Juergen Boos, the director of the Frankfurt Book Fair. He's going to tell us today what we can expect from the book fair week and how some of the big events are going to look like that normally take place in crowded auditoriums with lots of celebrities and lots of fanfare, and how we're going to transition that this year. So Juergen, thank you for joining us.
Hello, Hannah. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. So today, I just want to give people a sense of what the fair is going to look like, and in particular, what you'll be doing, since usually you are back-to-back meetings and events and speaking opportunities, and I imagine that's going to be slightly different this year. Are you just going to be on Zoom all week, or are you going to be meeting anybody in person? What do you expect from your book fair week?
Yes, it's going to be very special. We call the World Book Fair special edition this year. And in the past few months, we had to replan every second week what's going to happen according to the pandemic schedule somehow. So we've been planning first a physical fair, we've been planning a virtual fair, we've been planning B2B activities, we've been planning B2B conference formats. So we've been planning a lot of things, but now we are focusing finally, since it's only a few days to go for Frankfurt Buchmesse. So what's going to happen? On the one hand, we are going to have a virtual program, which is focusing on the one hand on allowing our virtual exhibitors, we have a few thousand virtual exhibitors this year, to present their programs, to present what they want to show to a general audience, but also to show their B2B lines, their B2B activities. So we built up at the Festhalle, some of you might know it as the former Agent Center. We've built up a broadcasting center in there together with German television and a lot of other media. So we will be able to reach out to everybody who's interested in books and authors in our industry on the one hand. And we are allowed to have about 450 people in there. So there will be some audience, and from there we are going to broadcast. We are going to have a very international day, which is called the Book Fest, where we have like more than 20 hours of programming for all over the world. And we are going to have, where I think I'm pretty proud of, on the one hand, we had to focus on the needs of the publishers to reach out to the general audience. On the other hand, we wanted to develop a format so the B2B activities can take place as well in a virtual surrounding. And this is on the one hand, what we've done with Frankfurt Rights. The rights transactions can take place. We are focusing on what's the main objective of Frankfurt anyway, to bring people together, to find new ideas, actually to identify new customers, but actually also discuss what's happening in the world of publishing. And we're also going to have, but this is mostly for the people in Frankfurt, about 70 events in the city of Frankfurt. So mostly German publishers are going to present their authors to a German audience. And on top of that, as I said before, we are going to have our B2B conferencing programming.
And these physical events that are taking place in the city, the Bookfest events, do you think those are going to be affected by what was, I think earlier this week, some announcements from Germany about further coronavirus cases and restrictions, or are there enough safety measures in place that people are going to feel comfortable coming to these events?
Yeah, sure. We have all these safety measures in place. We are in constant contact with the health authorities here in Frankfurt, and also with the health authorities in Berlin all over. So at this point of time, as I said, it's a few days to go, we can have all these events in the city of Frankfurt and in the Festhalle as well.
Excellent. And the opening ceremony is taking place in the Festhalle, is that correct?
The opening ceremony is taking place on the Tuesday. Our State Minister of Culture is going to open the fair. We are going to have a speech by David Crossman, which is obviously going to be virtual since he won't be able to travel from Israel.
Mhm.
So it's what you can expect from Frankfurt. Yeah, it's a political stage on the one hand, it's a literary stage, it's a cultural stage, and it's there to discuss issues we have in publishing all over the world.
And I assume at the beginning of the opening ceremony, we'll skip the red carpet and the photographs this year, and hopefully next year those will take place. Is that right?
No, actually, I'm going to stand in front of the Festhalle and welcome quite a few people. But
Oh,
again, we
excellent.
have to have all these safety measures in mind.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly going to be an adjustment, but I'm happy to hear that there's going to be a crowd of people there, and that the German public and the politicians are still going to be engaged this year in the opening ceremony, because I know that's a big event and a big part of the fair for, in particular.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very different. But on the other hand, it's about bringing people together. And there's a lot of people, stakeholders we have to thank for this opening, yeah, that this is possible what we're doing right now. We had a lot of support from our government on the one hand. We had a lot of support from international publishing. So we have to celebrate that it's going forward.
Yeah. And the opening press conference, usually there's also a big name speaker at the opening press conference. Is that going to take place this year? And are you going to invite journalists in person, or is that going to be virtual?
No, we are going to have journalists in Frankfurt as well, but most of it is going to be virtual. And this year I thought we shouldn't focus on the big names, but actually I thought we should focus on somebody who just started in publishing. So we invited a few very young publishers to speak about their experience and why they are, let's say, crazy enough to start a publishing house in these times. Yeah. And I think this should encourage us. And this is the message I want to send by inviting these young publishers to speak to us.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's nice to highlight a different group of people than we normally get to see on such a big stage. So, and remind us when the opening press conference is. Yeah.
And we have to look into the future of publishing. And I think this is our future, young people with new ideas. Yeah, encourage them actually to be part of our world.
Definitely. And more important, now I think that encouragement, since we are all online and we've got to be a little bit more purposeful in reaching out and highlighting people rather than, running across them at a physical event. So,
yes.
Yeah. There are a couple of other big events that normally take place or during the fair. One of them right before the fair is the announcement of the German Book Prize. And the other one is the Peace Prize of the German book trade. Those events, are those going to be online this year, or will there be a chance for people to be in the room when those prizes are announced?
The German Book Award, the Deutsche Buchpreis, will take place as a virtual event because we wanted to host it in the Kaisersaal, which is a very prominent place in Frankfurt. And there we would only be allowed to have like 20 people in the room. So actually this is the nominees and that's it. So it's going to be a virtual event. Okay. With the German Peacepreis, the Friedenspreis des Deutschen Buchhandels, it's a bit different. The location is the Paulskirche, a symbol for German democracy, which is also very important actually to the history of Europe. And there we are going to be allowed to have about between 70 or 100 people in there. So it's a very selected crowd, but it's also going to be broadcasted virtually.
Okay. And during the book fair week, I know we won't have there will be no physical exhibition, but do you anticipate any other kind of publishing business to be going on in Frankfurt during the week, maybe in another venue, or is most of the B2B happening online this year?
I know that quite a few German publishers and European publishers would like to come or plan to come to Frankfurt next week, but we'll have to see what the travel restrictions are going to be. And I think they are going to have one-to-one meetings all over in the city of Frankfurt.
Oh, good. The tradition lives on.
Yeah, the tradition is very hard to kill, obviously. Yeah,
definitely.
It's the week of Frankfurter Buchmesse, but I think 99% is going to take place virtually, and which is quite interesting when you look on our website and you see which publishers actually take place as a virtual exhibitor. It's people from countries who have never been to Frankfurt before. So it looks like we're going to have a different reach as well.
I mean, it's a great opportunity to involve people who, for whatever reason, haven't been able to come to the fair this year, and hopefully in 2021, we'll get to meet all of them in person, which would be fantastic, or to integrate these digital offers into the physical event somehow.
I'm sure some of some of these digital programs, formats we developed, we'll have to see whether they are successful. Yeah, this is also going to be a large experiment. Yeah, it's a test. Yeah, we have to test a lot of things we've been developing in the past few months. And we have to talk to a lot of people right after the fair. Did it really work out for you? And we have to take this experience and these answers and actually then transform a few things probably again, but other things are going to stay, which have proven successfully. But actually it's all there to support the physical meeting in Frankfurt. I think our business lives out of creativity, and sometimes we are chaotic, and it's a lot easier to be chaotic when you meet with 200,000 people, 300,000 people in Frankfurt.
Yes. Well, I think everybody's looking forward to seeing how the digital fair goes and how that integrates into 2021. And I'm looking forward to our next interview. So I think let's leave it there for this time, and we'll see everybody back here again very soon to talk about more developments in Frankfurt Special Edition this year. Juergen, thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.